Hi friends. Right, let's talk about how to become better in physics and chemistry. Right, I'm mainly going to be talking about how to become better in like high school physics and chemistry. And I'm not going to talk about like study techniques which you can use like active recall and spaced repetition. I have videos which like talk about them. Now I feel if you want to do well in like physics and chemistry, you have to have like the love of the subject, and like when you have like the love of that subject, then like everything else will then come along. So like when you learn like a concept in school, so like let's say you learn about moment in school. You can imagine moment as like having a plank, and like you have a pivot right in the middle, and you add weights on the plank. One side will go down and the other side will like go up and stuff like that. And it's kind of like a seesaw kind of thing. And like you can also do it as well. So like you can like just balance a pencil with like a finger and put a weight on one side of the pencil, and you'll see like it'll topple over. And like that is like how you can like relate the stuff that you've learned in school into real life, which like makes you appreciate like the subject. And like science is all around us, so like you might wonder how we can actually see things, and we see things because of like light actually reflects off that object into your eyes. And like there are apps which I found which like might also make you have like the love of science. There's an app called Unreal Chemistry, which is basically an app where you can see like reactions going on and demonstration of like chemicals mixing together and stuff like that. And it's quite nice. If you don't have like lab materials and stuff like that, you can like just use that app. And then there's another app for physics which is called Circuit Simulation, where you can basically make circuits and you can run the circuits and see that result and stuff like that. But that does have a high learning curve. And like these apps can like really teach you a lot of like physics and chemistry and stuff like that. But like I don't want to like force you to like get all those apps and stuff like that, because I feel if you give a child like a chemistry textbook or like a physics textbook and you tell them to like read like 5 pages a day or something like that, I feel the child will like grow up to like hate chemistry and physics because the textbooks are like so boring and stuff like that. And if you're forcing them to actually like read, they'll just hate it even more. You might like want to like get all of these chemistry and physics app and stuff like that, but you might also feel it's very complicated. So if you find it's like getting complicated and you don't really have like the mood to like use the app, that is completely fine. But like these apps kind of help you in giving like a false start. Now basically, like at the app called like Unreal Chemistry, it can also teach you about like flame tests and stuff like that. And that app basically shows you all the kind of flames which produces. So if you haven't been taught that in school, but you have learned that through that app, you'll then be ahead of your classmates. So that allows you to become like slightly smarter than your classmates in that topic. So you might like start to love that subject and stuff like that. And like subjects like physics, chemistry, and like maths, you might not be using it in like your job in the future. And like you might realize that like there's no purpose of like learning all of these elements and like learning the reactivity of these elements and stuff like that. And you might also like wonder why actually you are learning like differentiation and integration and stuff like that if you're not going to use it in real life, which is kind of true. But like these subjects, even though you might not use it in the future, they still help you with your critical thinking, and they help you with like problem solving and stuff like that. So it will indirectly help you. So these subjects help build brain muscles. Now I feel what makes chemistry and physics tough is because it is kind of abstract in a way. Like physics, you learn about electricity and you learn about current and voltage, and you learn about electrons moving and stuff like that. But you can't really see electrons. And like chemistry, you can't really see like metallic bond, ionic bond, and like covalent bond and stuff like that. But essentially like your teacher said that it is true. So essentially you know that it's true because your teacher actually talks about it. And like I'm in university, and in electronics and electrical engineering, like I'm at this point where it's gotten very abstract, and there's a lot of things where I just know that it is meant to be true, but I actually don't know the reason for it. Like I know to find like a fundamental frequency for this equation is by using Fourier transform and stuff like that. And like to find a frequency shift, I know there's a formula for that and stuff like that. So there's just a lot of formulas and a lot of abstract things which I learn. So like the things where you don't fully understand but you know it's true because like your teacher says it, that makes it a bit tough. That is why like I feel there should be like a separate class just for doing like lab experiments. And like once you do the lab experiments, you'll start to understand it even better than like just learning it from your teacher. But essentially it's better to like do it as well. So I feel maybe you can also use the circuit simulator and like just see what happens, or like connect this wire to this wire and put an ammeter there and see like what happens and stuff like that. So that uses your kinesthetic learning since you are doing it. So I feel some people start to dislike science because like we just memorize like formulas and like memorize facts which like teachers tells us, but it's better if we learn it, if we like physically do it inside the lab. So that also uses our kinesthetic learning as well as our visual learning, since we'll be seeing everything, as well as auditory learning, since we'll be hearing everything which is going on. And like there's a good video from Veritasium which basically says that like even though some people like are better in like visual learning or like auditory learning and like kinesthetic learning, but all in all, we are always better when we learn with all of these three things combined together. So like things which uses our visual, auditory and like kinesthetic learning, which is essentially what goes on inside the lab. So you want to do like science better, maybe try and do things which uses your visual, auditory and like kinesthetic learning all together. Alright, that's it for this video and thank you for watching. Goodbye.